it varies from 0.21% to 0.42%. Various malformations are includes under congenital mitral stenosis. The first one is the short chordae tendineae with reduction in or obliteration of the intercaudal space and decrease in interpapillary muscle distance. And second one is parachute mitral wall, which consists of single eccentric papillary muscle into which all chordae tendineae from both leaflets are inserted. And is a single eccentric papillary muscle that can be because of the fusion of the two papillary muscles or congenital absence of the one of the papillary muscles. In normal heart, the blood flows from mitral across a mitral orifice is between interleaflets and intercaudals. So the normal flow of the blood has been interrupted in both cases. So third one is anomalous mitral arcade that is characterized by a fibrous band that runs adjacent to free margins of the mitral leaflets with short or absent chordae tendineae and multiple contiguous capillary muscles. And fourth one is accessory mitral wall tissue or anomalous left ventricle muscle bundles or anomalous obstructing capillary muscles that are obstructing the flow to the from the left atrium. Or we can see that double orifice mitral wall, which can be stenotic, incompetent, or functionally normal. The orifice size of the orifice can be varying from. So most common malformations under congenital mitral stenosis are these three. The first one is the typical form that is characterized by decreased interpapillary muscle distance, and there is a reduction is the intercaudal space. Second, this is the parachute mitral wall with a single eccentric papillary muscle, and third one is the supravalvular stenosing mitral ring, showing here. These are the most common malformations in the congenital mitral wall. So these various malformations of the congenital mitral wall can be part of Schwann complex, and this it is the development combination of the obstructive lesions, and we can that includes the supravalvular stenosing ring, as in diagram showing here, and parachute mitral wall. And in this schematic diagram, there is single papillary muscle is there, and it's receiving the chordae tendineae from both the leaflets, and the coaxium of aorta at 3, labeled at 3, and labeled at 4 is subaortic stenosis. So if all the components are present in the Schwann complex, we call it as complete Schwann complex. Or in case of incomplete, usually we talk about the one lesion in the one obstructive lesion in the outflow of the LV and one obstructive lesion in the outflow of the RV. So all these 4 components may or may not be present in Schwann complex. If we talk about the clinical presentation, the congenital mitral stenosis shows the male predisponse. It's 1.5:1. And if the stenosis is severe, the symptoms begin shortly after the birth, when pulmonary blood flow commences and suddenly enters the obstructive left atrium. In 50% of symptomatic infants die within 6 months, but very occasionally they can be asymptomatic, or few remains relatively free of the symptoms for the years. In case of the parachute mitral wall or supravalvular mitral ring, the longevity is better. The median survival rate in parachute mitral wall is 10 years, and supravalvular mitral ring is 5.5 years. And for short chordae tendineae or obliterated intercodal space. There is survival up to the median age of 6 months. Is all. Patient usually present with the orthopnea, dyspnea, tachypnea, or paroxysmal cough due to development of pulmonary edema, and the child will have a history of recurrent respiratory tract lower respiratory tract infections, and he may have a history of occasional syncopal attacks. He or she can develop aphonia due to the compression of the recurrent laryngeal nerve by hypertensive pulmonary drain. In case of congenital mitral valve, the hemoptysis is rare. That is an entire we can this clinical feature in contrast to the core triatriatum or pulmonary vein stenosis. It's rare in case of congenital mitral valve. So on physical appearance, patient may have mild cyanosis.
Manjit, recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy or compression doesn't cause aphonia. It causes hoarseness of voice with bovine cough. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Parloff में mentioned है ये ना. The aphonia, the cause of aphonia, but actually right.
Aphonia is mentioned in Parloff. Parloff में aphonia लिखा है.
डिस्कशन पहले भी हर बार होता है, बट Parloff always talks of aphonia, but ये मतलब always ना वो वहाँ कट कर देना. It is right. मतलब go by Mohit's statement literally. What recurrent laryngeal nerve is supplying ultimately? Why this discussion is happening? What is recurrent laryngeal? What is finally what is this recurrent laryngeal nerve supplying finally?
Supply to the vocal muscles of the vocal cords. It's I think posterior something.
Mohit, can you elaborate on what you have said?
Yeah, so basically recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy only causes loss of abduction.
Yeah.
If there is a unilateral palsy, so only unilateral abduction goes.
Okay, so to cause a problem which is bilateral, to cause a problem which is totally, it is actually very rare for this to cause aphonia, no? That is
and in cases of mitral stenosis, you will be asked, how did you check for recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy? So apart from usual hoarseness, you have to always say that I asked the patient to cough. If the nature of cough is bovine, then we will say we are suspecting recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. Usually, aphonia doesn't happen in recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. There are abductor supply, there is adductor supply. Both are different supplies. I don't remember the superior laryngeal nerve is there. I don't remember the name. But just one unilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy doesn't cause aphonia.
Yes, sir.
Continue.
Physical appearance, the patient may have mild cyanosis that coincides with congestive heart failure, and due to recurrent LRTIs and catabolic effects of the heart failure, the patient may have physical underdevelopment and failure to thrive. On the arterial pulsation, patient have the normal sinus rhythm in contrast to the atrial fibrillation of the rheumatic mitral valve. Will have the normal sinus rhythm here, and JVP characteristically shows the increased A wave due to development of the pulmonary hypertension. On the examination of the CVS, the precordial bulge one can observe, and will have the RV impulse that is palpable at the lower sternal border and GP sternal area, showing the indicative of the pulmonary hypertension. Auscultation, S1 will be normal or soft, and P2 component of the S2 will be loud.
S1 will be normal.
Normal or soft, sir.
So why it is not loud? Why it is loud in rheumatic MS and why it is not loud in congenital MS?
Sir, due to commissural fusion in the rheumatic MS, the the force of the closing of the mitral wall is distance as well as the rapidity of the closure of the mitral wall. The S1 is loud in rheumatic. Here, all these things are not happening because the commissural or are not there. Commissural fusion is not there.
Anyone else?
So
So
RSD MS because of RSD होता है उसमें loud sound is because of that movement of anterior leaflet that is mentioned in
Yes. So basically, what happens in diastole, the AML the leaflet goes very far away, and in systole they just come towards each other, so that it produces third and loud S1. Nothing of that sort happens in congenital MS.
You got the point. No? For a first heart sound to be loud, there should be an abrupt closing of the anterior mitral leaflet. Yani anterior mitral leaflet normally what happens is PML is fixed.
Yeah.
जैसे rheumatic में PML बिल्कुल fix हो जाती है, movement नहीं होती है. So again this frequency AML generally snaps. It creates a very very large sound. पर इसमें क्या है? The pathology is not in the leaflets. In congenital mitral stenosis, the pathology is subvalvular. It can be supravalvular. So it is
can be
actually
annular.
causing restriction of the anterior leaflet. So anterior leaflet does not has that particular movement.
Yes.
It is not as mobile. So the lack of mobility of the anterior leaflet does not produce a loud first heart sound.
Yes, sir. Mentioned in the last slide.
lack
Sir.
of mobility is due to involvement of the subvalvular apparatus.
Yes. The opening snap is not
involvement of the subvalvular apparatus. अगर rheumatic में भी anterior mitral leaflet involved होगी, thicket होगी, और subcaudal fusions हो जाएंगे, तो S1 would not be loud.
Yes, और calcified होगी तब भी.
Classically, mitral stenosis में, rheumatic mitral stenosis में PML predominantly involved होती है, PML restricted होती है. Anterior leaflet comes later on, no? So that is why the first heart sound is loud.
Okay.
So next.
So, in the presence of parachute mitral wall or supravalvular ring, a holocystic murmur at the apex or lower sternal border is heard due to mitral regurgitation or the tricuspid regurgitation. An apical or apical mid-diastolic murmur with presystolic accentuation is exceptional because the rapid rate of heart rate in infants that shorten the diastole, and because a dilated hypertensive right ventricle displaces the left ventricle from the apex. So we cannot have this.
So what he is trying to say, normal mitral stenosis may what happens, and what is the difference between a normal congenital mitral stenosis and a rheumatic mitral stenosis? What will be the features? Can you summarize? अभी तक जो बोला है उसमें से rheumatic में क्या difference होगा, auscultation में, और congenital में क्या difference होगा?
Rheumatic में हमें S1 loud मिलेगा.
Okay.
और सर ये मिलेगा क्या बोलते हैं with openings S2 P2 loud हो सकता है if pulmonary hypertension होगा तो. Then we will get the apical mid-diastolic murmur with presystolic accentuation, and opening neck will get in the rheumatic. Here we will get in congenital will S1 soft S1 will be there, P2 will be loud, and only
what happens? What is the basic difference between rheumatic and congenital MS? Rheumatic is a acquired pathology. यानी उसके पिछले 10-12 साल तक since when the child was born, mitral valve was not involved. Then the mitral valve has started becoming thick. And generally involves the posterior thickening. So as we have discussed, anterior is generally spared, is not that commonly involved, and since posterior moves further on because of the cicatrization there is so much of a distance that it creates a loud first heart sound. So this we have discussed. Congenital में loud first heart sound नहीं होगा. Second, the LA pressures are high right from the beginning in utero से ही. LA pressure leads to pulmonary venous hypertension and leads to persistent right pulmonary artery hypertension. Pulmonary artery hypertension can occur in rheumatic also, can occur in congenital mitral stenosis also. But the main difference is, in this case, severe RV hypertension is present even before the child is born, right from birth. उससे क्या होता है, क्या difference आ गया, इसमें LV कभी apex नहीं बनाता, because RV बचपन से ही मतलब is hypertrophied and thick, no, so it gets rotated on its axis. Remember, heart is not side by side नहीं है ना, एक axis है, so it rotates. And whenever there is a congenital hypertension since birth, the RV tends to rotate on its axis and comes anterior. Now RV comes anterior, LV goes slightly posterior. So how does it make a difference in auscultation? Auscultation में mid diastolic murmur with pre-systolic accentuation is a hallmark of rheumatic mitral stenosis.
Yes, sir.
पर क्योंकि एपेक्स पोस्टीरियरली चला गया, आप इजीली मिड डायस्टोलिक मर्मर अप्रिशिएट नहीं कर सकते, इसलिए आपको या तो डायस्टोलिक मर्मर ही अप्रिशिएट नहीं होती मिड डायस्टोलिक मर्मर, या होती भी है तो बहुत हल्की सी मिड डायस्टोलिक मर्मर अप्रिशिएट होती है इफ देयर इज पर्टिकुलरली इफ देयर इज एसोसिएटेड सीवियर या सिग्निफिकेंट एमआर, यानी एमआर जब सिग्निफिकेंट हो जाता है, फ्लो भी बढ़ जाता है, तभी कंजेनाइटल लीजन्स में एपिकल डायस्टोलिक मर्मर बहुत अच्छे से अप्रिशिएट होती है, और प्री सिस्टोलिक एक्सुएशन इज इवन डिफिकल्ट टू अप्रिशिएट. Okay, so what are the three major differences I have to say? Opening snap, presence of pulmonary artery hypertension and its features in the form of second heart sound being loud and parasternal heave, which are very more commonly in congenital. And third, presence of, अगर आपने किसी को बोल दिया आपने कि मुझे मिड डायस्टोलिक मर्मर प्री-सिंक्रोनाइजेशन बहुत अच्छे से मिल रही है इस पेशेंट में, that means you are more committing towards acquired pathology than a congenital pathology.
Okay, thank you.
अभी तो और भी कुछ है, I mean auscultation में?
नहीं सर,
मतलब फीचर्स ऑफ हाइपरटेंशन बताना जरूरी है ना. व्हेन
Yeah.
कंजेनिटल में हमेशा प्रेडोमिनेटली जब आप कंजेनिटल माइट्रल स्टेनोसिस का केस प्रेजेंट कर रहे होगे, बेसिकली उसको पीएच की तरह प्रेजेंट कर रहे होगे.
Yes.
सेकंड हार्ट साउंडिंग लाउड, अर्ली डायस्टोलिक मर्मर पैरास्टर्नल हीविया में मिल रही है, मतलब ये पैरास्टर्नल हीव मिल रही है, और माइट्रल स्टेनोसिस आप सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हो बिकॉज ऑफ द एज, बिकॉज ऑफ द पल्मोनरी वीनस फीचर्स जो उसमें मिल रहे हैं, बिकॉज मिड डायस्टोलिक मर्मर एपेक्स में नहीं मिल रही है.
And we also get RVS3, RVS4.
हाँ, वो RV के सारे features would be dominant in case of congenital mitral stenosis, unlike in case of acquired mitral stenosis. This is a very important exam discussion. Auscultation में when you commit to rheumatic versus a non-rheumatic mitral stenosis.
इसमें हमें ग्राम स्टील वगैरह मिलेगा सर?
और classically ग्राम स्टील pulmonary hypertension के लिए classical मिलता है ना, it's very important for congenital mitral stenosis. Similarly, second heart sound और जो भी बोला है, जो भी PH के components होंगे, they will get accentuated क्योंकि RV बिल्कुल आगे आ जाता है. So RV is forming the apex. So that is why right-sided hypertension के features will predominate. सिर्फ दो पेन पैथोलॉजीज काम कर रही हैं, एक mitral valve का generalized involvement है, and two there is a RV which is getting predominant. ठीक है? Anything else in auscultation? Anybody wants to add?
No sir.
चलें ECG, X-ray जो भी मतलब है.
ECG में सर same picture of pulmonary artery hypertension will get the normal sinus rhythm, right atrial PVA will get right atrial right axis deviation and feature of RVS.
सर परलॉफ जब आप कर रहे हो ना, आपका मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव है एग्जाम. अब और जब आप केस प्रेजेंट कर रहे होगे, आपने देख लिया कि भाई ये फीचर्स हो गए, एक ही सवाल है माइट्रल स्टेनोसिस में बार-बार पूछेंगे, तो डॉक्टर साहब रूमेटिक है, कंजेनिटल है, रूमेटिक है, कंजेनिटल है. ईसीजी में ऐसे क्या फीचर्स होंगे which will be specific for mitral stenosis and which will point towards the congenital mitral stenosis? Can you answer that?
सर रूमेटिक में हमें AF के फीचर्स मिलेंगे, यहाँ पे नॉर्मल साइनस रिदम मिलेगा. कंजेनिटल
जब भी कंजेनिटल माइट्रल स्टेनोसिस होती है, उसमें पल्मोनरी वीनस हाइपरटेंशन प्रेडोमिनेट करती है, सारा प्रेशर गेट्स ट्रांसमिटेड. LA बहुत बड़ा नहीं मिलेगा, unlike rheumatic. Here the LA pressures is in utero से almost चल रहा है ना, the pressures gets transmitted to pulmonary veins very frequent, almost whole the pressure is getting transmitted to pulmonary veins. So pulmonary venous hypertension will be very significant. Features of LA enlargement, features of atrial fibrillation. और एग्जाम में कभी AF नहीं बोलते. AF क्या होता है डॉक्टर साहब? एट्रियल फिब्रिलेशन होता है कि फ्लटर होता है? इसलिए कई एग्जामिनर ऑब्जेक्ट करते हैं ना. और ऑलवेज टॉक ऑफ फिब्रिलेशन, जब बाद में तो बोलोगे ही खैर, बट हमेशा फिब्रिलेशन वर्ड यूज करो. फिब्रिलेशन इज अ लेफ्ट साइडेड फीचर, फ्लटर इज अ राइट साइडेड फीचर ना. तो फिब्रिलेशन और LA के फीचर्स प्रेडोमिनेट नहीं करते. ECG में भी यही मिलेगा, एक्सरे में भी यही मिलेगा. चलो आगे चलो। और कुछ है इसमें? ईसीजी में नॉर्मली क्या क्या मिलेगा वो बता दो।
Norman sir,
नहीं,
here
ईसीजी में
is,
जाओ। आप
sir.
केस प्रेजेंट कर रहे हो ना, परलॉफ तो केस प्रीवियस ईसीजी में। हाँ अच्छा, आ गए। ओके, ईसीजी में
हाँ sir. Lead 2 showing peaked tall and peaked P wave. In lead 2, there is
does it signify?
yes,
ईसीजी में किस क्या फीचर्स मिल रहे हैं आपको? व्हाई दिस योर केस इज अ 2-year-old Schwann complex. There is a tall peaked atrial P wave present in lead 1 and V1-2. What does it mean? What tall peaked wave का मतलब क्या हुआ है ईसीजी में?
right atrial.
Right atrial. It is signifying PH. Right atrial enlargement के फीचर मिल रहे हैं. That is why I told you ना, congenital mitral stenosis मतलब PH में आपको mitral stenosis मिल रहा है. Practically वही है. It will be a broad peak wave में PH. There is a right axis deviation. RV हमारे predominate करेगा. Right ventricular hypertrophy मिलेगी. Normally what do you expect in normal mitral stenosis? Rheumatic mitral stenosis में ECG में what do you expect?
LA enlargement.
What else?
And atrial fibrillation LA, and then
atrial fibrillation का ECG में कैसे पता चलेगा? LA enlargement का ECG में क्या क्राइटेरिया होते हैं?
sir, the bifid P wave will get no bifid is this one.
What is the criteria of LA enlargement? Anybody? What is the criteria of LA enlargement in ECG?
So in lead 2, we will see for width of P wave. If P wave width is more than 2.5 small squares, or there is a bifid P wave with the distance between two peaks more than 40 milliseconds. This is one criteria. Second, and the more specific criteria, is the positive Morris index, where we will see that in the biphasic P wave in V1, the downslope covers the area of more than 0.4 millimeter second. Then it is LA enlargement.
So Morris index हमेशा पहले बोल लो ना, मतलब नाम बाद में लो लेकिन describe पहले करो, and then you talk of the other thing. It is more so you don't get it in congenital MS. Okay, next. Everybody is clear, no?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Next.
This is phonogram of a 2-year-old girl with Schwann complex, and here diastolic murmur is there, and S1 is soft. There is no opening snap. And on the right side there is a chest X-ray showing the features of the pulmonary venous congestion. There is the enlargement of the hyla and pulmonary trunk, as well as RA enlargement is there, and the left cardiac border is straightened here, showing the enlargement of left atrial appendix.
So
What is the classification of pulmonary?
Gaurav is asking about.
Yeah sir, I was just asking about the pulmonary venous congestion grading on X-ray. Can you interpret the pressures indirectly?
Along with corresponding pressures.
Yeah.
Sorry, there is a venous capillization is there, then pressures are around 10.
Anyone else?
Can I say?
Shashank, Romila.
Yeah. We have basically 4 grades. Grade 0 is normal. Pulmonary capillary wedge pressure will be around 8 to 12. And grade 1 is cephalization. Pulmonary capillary pressure around after 12, 13 to 18. And in grade 2, it is interstitial edema. It is 19 to 25. And grade
Curly
4
B
is,
lines.
Curly B lines.
Curly B lines.
And grade 3 is alveolar edema, and it is more than 25.
Bad finger appearance.
Bad finger appearance.
Yeah.
Bad finger.
And for chronic, they say that all these values are increased. Like for chronic grade 4, it is more than 35.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a difference
This is all for
between बता रहे हैं pulmonary. What Pramila is telling, I was coming to this. She is telling the values of acute pulmonary edema. So जब भी acute pulmonary edema होगा ना, the things, I mean, there is a difference. See, just check the values. I'll share after this. Maybe I'll send it. There is a difference between acute and chronic. उसकी values एक बार देख लेना. जब भी हम congenital mitral stenosis की बात करेंगे, the features of pulmonary venous hypertension will be exaggerated. ये ज्यादा prominently मिलेंगे. अगर patient symptomatic है तो LA enlargement नहीं मिलेगा. Pulmonary venous hypertension के features ज्यादा मिलेंगे. और ये this is always a chronic edema.
Yes, sir.
सर इस एक्सरे में कौन सा ग्रेड बोलेंगे?
बताओ. What do you think?
ग्रेड सर 2
sir.
चलते थे दिख नहीं रहा ढंग से.
Definitely interstitial
Battle नहीं है.
involvement है. कर्ली लाइंस दिख रहे हैं? नहीं दिख रहे हैं.
2 ही लग रहा है सर ग्रेड.
You are presenting this case, Majid, and अब तुम्हें डिसाइड करना है कि भाई ये सारी डिस्कशन अभी तक यही हो रही है कि congenital MS है या acquired MS है. X-ray में what are the features which are pointing towards the congenital mitral stenosis? Or what are the features which are against rheumatic stenosis, and what are the features in favor of mitral stenosis?
सर
वही सब है जो अभी सब सारा डिस्कशन इसी पे हुआ है ना. कंजेनिटल एमएस के वही फीचर्स जो
कार्डियक सेल आउट में पता अलग एंड पल्मोनरी वैस्कुलेचर में अलग.
हेलो हेलो
Manjeet, चलो बताओ.
LA enlargement will be there. वो भी यहाँ भी है.
Enlargement will be there. Okay.
In rheumatic acquired.
इस केस में you can clearly see that there is a significant congestion ना.
Yes sir.
Right, lower lobes तक वो lymph वो दिख रहे हैं. Lymphatic prominence दिख रही है. When you can call it curly lines also. तो pulmonary venous hypertension will be prominent. Adults में क्या चीज prominent हो जाती है? Calcification is a very important feature. In congenital mitral stenosis, you will hardly see any calcifications.
Yes sir.
And जैसे हमने discuss किया, right atrium will be more prominent. It's a RA prominent. It's a RV which is prominent. Why is RA prominent? What criteria are you applying? What is the criteria for RV enlargement?
सर इसमें तो more than 3 intercostal spaces की height या central line से 2.5
criteria of RA enlargement you must always read, no? एक बार पढ़ लेना all those 4 criteria. Definitely it is occupying 1, 2, 3, almost 3.5, 4 spaces. So it is definitely enlarged.
Yes sir.
And it is definitely a apex. If you clearly see, it is a slightly upturned apex. It's not a LV apex.
yeah looking like a RV apex.
It is
But sir, for a severe acquired MS, it is very difficult to say because we also get all features of pulmonary hypertension in severe acquired MS.
Yeah, there is no 100% rule to differentiate this. But the features which will predominate is the pulmonary venous hypertension will be will be significantly high. The RA and RV enlargement would be much more predominant, and LA enlargement would not be there. So if I have to take an X-ray, I would not get a 90. LA enlargement के features नहीं मिलेंगे. LA enlargement, LA mitral stenosis में कितना huge LAs होते हैं. Double atrial shadow कभी नहीं मिलेगी congenital mitral. How can it form? It can never be so used to cause a right atrial thing because everything gets transmitted to veins. So it is very unusual to get all double atrial shadow, prominent carinal angle. It is very unusual. Calcification, it is very unusual. If you find these things, these point more towards a rheumatic cause.
Okay sir.
Okay, next. Anything else? Yeah, okay, let's read it.
Yes sir. The very severe pulmonary venous congestion is there. The prominent pulmonary trunk and enlarged RA.
But left atrial enlargement is not very usual for this. No? It points
Right.
towards the rheumatic.
ग्रेड 3 होगा सर.
ये almost alveolar.
ये तो बैट
What
विंग
is
है.
it?
तो ग्रेड 3 है तो.
एक बार एल्वियोलर इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो गई तो ग्रेड 3 है. इंटरस्टिशियल इन्वॉल्वमेंट है तो ग्रेड 2 है. ठीक है, तो डेफिनेटली इंटरस्टिशियल तो है. आई एम एक्चुअली नॉट कन्विंस्ड. आई नो यू आर ऑल सेइंग बट इफ यू सी एल्वियोलाई आर
बहुत ज्यादा
एक्सेप्ट फॉर द मीडियल साइड. ये लैटरल व्यू है ना.
ये
लैटरली
lateral है.
सॉरी, ये तो मिड लाइन स्पाइन है.
ये तो एक
हाँ, but हाँ, medially even it's a mixed picture, but laterally alveoli are pretty. There is more of interstitial. We can see that बीच-बीच में वो बन रहे हैं honeycombing जैसा बीच-बीच जैसे interstitial involvement. So it's a very predominantly interstitial involvement. Lymphatics are very prominent. Yeah, you're pointing to those lymphatics. These are very prominent. So definitely interstitial involvement is significant.
Okay.
Next.
On echocardiography of the congenital mitral stenosis, we'll get two well-formed capillary muscles with a reduced intercapillary distance. So, this parachute mitral wall will be characterized by single capillary muscle into which all coordinately are converging. And the effective orificial size we cannot determine by the 2D echo, as the flow in the intercaudal space and the wall is eccentric. But the Doppler scan can determine the gradient as well as orificial size as well. And supravalvular ring is more readily identified when it is not attached to the mitral wall, and it is best seen in the diastole. Anomalous.
Manjit, how will you differentiate a supravalvular ring from a chord atrium on echo?
सोच ही रहा था गौरव पूछेगा अभी. गौरव का फेवरेट क्वेश्चन है.
डायस्टोल में सुप्रावल्वुलर रिंग अवे फ्रॉम द mitral wall मूव करेगा, लेकिन chord atriums में towards मूव करेगा.
Anyone else?
सर बेसिकली जो सुप्रामेटल रिंग होता है वो एनुलस के प्लेन पे होता है और कॉर्ड atrium is much more away.
pulmonary veins
much more away कितना away? मतलब वेन्स के पास था, ओरिजिन पे होगा, पल्मोनरी वेन के ड्रेनेज पॉइंट पे. एक इसने डायग्राम भी दिखाया था, सेकंड डायग्राम में फोटो में 3 फोटोज दिखाए थे ना इसने, उसमें दिखाया था कॉर्ड जो फर्स्ट कॉर्ड एट्रियम का एक फोटो दिखा और पीछे
मूवमेंट भी तो डिफरेंट.
हाँ, यहाँ पे ये सेकंड डायग्राम कहाँ पर है कॉर्ड एट्रियम?
सर नियर द
कौन से स्ट्रक्चर के ऊपर है?
पल्मोनरी वेन्स के ड्रेनेज मतलब क्लासिकली वो सारे कवर कर रहा था.
द स्ट्रक्चर व्हिच यू कैन सी इजीली ऑन इको अपेंडेज के ऊपर है ना.
दिस इज अबव द अपेंडेज.
ठीक है, तो अपेंडेज के ऊपर होता है. माइक्रोएम्बल एंडलस लेवल पे होगा, लीफ फिट्स के ऊपर होगा. ठीक है.
There are 3 things basically you have to remember. One, position. Appendage is below in case of quadratum. Second, there is a movement. Second, you said is the movement
of the mitral wall.
diastole.
Yes, sir, in diastole.
And
The away
appearance of
from
Winshaw.
mitral wall in supravalvular ring and towards mitral wall in quadratum.
And
Can I say so?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, first of all, LA and foramen ovale, it will be distal to the membrane, and membrane moves towards mitral valve in diastole. Second point, and third point is membrane is curvilinear, and there will be appearance of wind shock appearance.
What is the appearance of?
Which
Wind shock.
Wind shock.
अच्छा wind shock.
So whenever you are looking at a मतलब बहुत पास में होता है, कई बार confusion होता है ना. So it is not one isolated thing. You can ऐसा नहीं है कि विंड शॉक हो गया अब तो ये तो क्वाड्रेट है. नो, यू हैव टू विंड शॉक बनेगा ही हमेशा क्वाड्रेटम में. इस पे बन ही नहीं सकता ना, बिकॉज विंड शॉक मींस बल्ज कर रहा है और फिर आगे जाके एक्सपेंड कर रहा है मेरे हाथ में. तो
वहां पे स्पेस ही नहीं होगा उसमें. तो
so all these things, these 3 criteria you should be aware on.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And anomalous mitral arcades with multiple capillary muscle with few or no chordate tendony enclosed in between arcades and leaflets. And the relative size of the two orifices of a double orificial mitral valve can be determined, and caudal incision can be characterized, and functional state of valve can be established, either it is normal, stenotic, or competent. This is the echo showing a supravalvular ring. Showing the arrow showing the supravalvular ring here, and the right side there is a parachute mitral valve. This is the papillary muscle, and they are the chordae tendineae are converging on the single papillary muscle, and it is eccentric in situation.
Very
Position.
nice.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to ask one question. ECG में miss हो गया. How will you diagnose RA enlargement in atrial fibrillation?
RA enlargement.
So if
No idea.
Dr. Shank?
so RA,
So there is one thing that QRS voltage in V1 should be less than 5 mm, and the ratio of V2 to V1 voltage should be more than 6. This is one of the criteria. It was taught yesterday only. Doctor, इन्होंने बताया था. Dr. Kothari ने.
QRS voltage, sir, in
लिख के भेज दूंगा ग्रुप में. Go ahead.
or
so, they are the hemodynamic findings on the echocardiogram. Based on that, we can stage the mitral stenosis. Mitral stenosis at risk when there is normal transmitral flow velocity is there. We'll say it's as a progressive MS if the mitral valve area is more than 1.5 centimeters square and the diastolic pressure half time is less than 150 milliseconds. And asymptomatic severe MS will say when the area is less than 1.5 centimeter and diastolic pressure is more than 150 milliseconds. And symptomatic severe MS when mitral valve area less than 1.5 centimeters square and the pressure half time is more than 150 milliseconds. And very severe mitral valve area will say when less than 1 centimeter square is and diastolic pressure half life is more than 220 milliseconds. There is the staging of mitral stenosis on the basis of hemodynamics. And there are certain recommendations of the mitral stenosis in patient with congenital mitral stenosis. For small children with intractable NYHA class 3 or 4 symptoms, despite of maximal medical management. Or patient child have failure to thrive despite of maximum medical treatment, or older children with symptomatic NYHA class 3 or 4, or adolescent or young adults with symptomatic NYHA class 3 or 4 with mean mitral valve gradient more than 10 mm of the mercury. Class 1 in the mitral valve cell. Usually, valve is not recommended among the patients with congenital mitral stenosis. Despite of surgical intervention, the long-term mortality of the patients is still not good. And symptoms of dyspnea among patients with history of congenital mitral stenosis, even if well repaired in early life, may reflect pulmonary venous disease. And adult clinicians should be vigilant about screening of pulmonary hypertension. The later age. For the isolated supravalvular mitral ring, the surgical resection prior to the damage to the MV is recommended, and the fibrous tissue is resected by avoiding the interleaflet, damage to interleaflet, and the ring is easily separated from the valve. Outcomes are excellent, and but they are associated comorbid conditions if are present. Associated congenital anomalies are there. Apart from supravalvular mitral ring, then the surgical resection should be avoided as the outcome is not good in those cases. बस सर इतना ही ट्रीटमेंट में मुझे
ये कहाँ से लिया ट्रीटमेंट?
सोर्स तो सर ये मोहित सर ने दिया था कुछ, कहाँ से आया था ये क्या था सर वो, वहाँ से रिकमेंडेशन मैंने कॉपी।
एक रिव्यू आर्टिकल ही है सर।
हाँ कोई
ऑलवेज मेंशन जहाँ से लिया है ना।
LM साफी कोई रिव्यू आर्टिकल
Published in
हालांकि there are 2-3 things which I want to differ. There is a series for BMV also in congenital MS, and which says that except for supramitral ring, बाकी सब में results were not bad. Even parachute mitral valve and annular disease.
series कहाँ से?
एक सर हम AHA की series है 110 patient की 2005 में published.
For all practical purpose, what we are trying to do in BMV is we are trying to split the commissures.
It's the commission.
Whenever there is a commissural fusion, we are going to stretch it and open up the commissures. Here the pathology is not commissural. Here the pathology is subvalvular.
Subvalvular.
So if I have to balloon this, I will mostly land up and with a MR tearing the subcaudal apparatus. So BMV is ideally not a treatment, and the take-home message is we are all sitting at home, but the take-home message is that yes, it is BMV is not indicated. Mohit, if you have to point, then you must say what were the specific group of patients where they took for BMV and where they found that BMV can be done. There must have this conclusion is more important. What group of congenital mitral and MS were found suitable for a BMV?
सर एक ये बॉस्टन एनालिसिस में दिया था बॉस्टन के अंदर they took basically parachute mitral valve, double orifice mitral valve.
Yeah, I'm talking about the same series, Boston की जो series.
And they took 108 patients. उसमें mitral regurgitation was found significant in 28%. मैंने ये लिखा था.
Ideally, this is not ideally they are not suitable for BMV. They do much better with the surgical because pathology को तो इससे नहीं treat कर पाएंगे.
हाँ ठीक है.
Anything else? We go to quarter item, no?
Yes, sir. Core triatrium, it is characterized by the membrane shell divides the left atrium into a proximal accessory chamber that receives pulmonary veins and a distal true left atrial chamber that contains the left atrial appendage and fossa veins. This membrane can be partially or completely encircling the mitral orifice, or it can be adhered to the mitral leaflet. The epidemiology is very rare. The prevalence is very rare, and it's about 0.1% in diagnosed CSD cases. So in autopsy it's 1.4%, and in general population it is 0.004%. While we talk about the physiology, the membrane causes the physical stenosis at the mitral wall, and due to various, it depends upon the various fenestration and orificial size of the membrane, and it can vary if the ASD is present in the superior or in inferior chamber. The continuation of the ASD with superior chamber or with the inferior chamber.
How ASD will make a difference in superior and inferior chambers? How will the physiology change?
ASD, if it opens in the superior chamber, then will get more symptoms of the stenosis, because as the membrane.
What symptoms of stenosis?
Membrane will act as stenotic membrane, sir. So there will be enlargement of the proximal accessory chamber and pulmonary venous hypertensive.
Mohit?
What is happening when there is a ASD proximally? What happens when the ASD is distal?
Logical है ये तो.
Sir superior है तो decompress हो जाएगा to the RA. Inferiorly है तो कैसे होगा? या तो दोनों तरफ हो तो फिर it will form a channel from where it will come to the RA then from RA to LA.
Mitral stenotic change कम होंगे, मतलब effects कम मिलेंगे सर. हम मेम्ब्रेन तो ऊपर है तो डायरेक्ट.
So Shashank, are you reading Moss and Adams or have you read Parlov?
सर दोनों पर ये चीज तो सर आपका आर्टिकल से बड़ा है.
Because whatever you are saying is more, I mean, Moss and Adams वाला ज़्यादा लग रहा है. But we are right actually. Mostly what happens is that whenever it's a proximal non-restrictive ASD, it tends to decompress the pulmonary veins. That means right-sided features will predominate, not the pulmonary venous obstruction. Obviously, जब distal ASD होगा, तो pulmonary venous obstruction ज़्यादा predominate करेगा. Understand? No? अगर pulmonary veins को decompress कर रहा है, तो उसके features उससे predominate नहीं करेंगे. जैसे MS Lutembecker में होता है, similarly.
This is the membrane and the LA appendage and fossa vallis is present in the lower chamber. This can be isolated defect or in association with other cardiac anomalies like PDA, PST, pulmonary venous anomalies, and tricuspid atresia. Embryologically, there is persistence of right valve of the sinus venosus, which results in failure of the incorporation of the common pulmonary vein into the left atrium. As this process begins at the 5th week of gestation and it's continues till embryo. Here, proximal chamber represents the persistence of the common pulmonary vein of the embryo, and it cannot be identified externally. There are three anatomic varieties of the core triatriatum. One is diaphragmatic, it is most common, and a fibrous or fibromuscular diaphragm is that contains either a single or multiple openings. And the size of the openings that determines the degree of obstruction. This tubular type is most primitive type and least common variety. Here, the proximal chamber retains the shape of the common pulmonary vein, which is anatomic basis of the tubular configuration. And this distal end of this joins the left atrium directly without any. And thirdly, R-glass type. It is developmentally intermediate between diaphragmatic and tubular type, and the constriction projects inward as an obstructing shelf, which is seen externally as an hourglass deformity at the junction of accessory chamber and true atrium. There are three varieties of the core triatriatum. And interatrial communication usually takes the form of valve incompetent foramen oval, positioned between RA and distal to left atrium. Alternatively, the ostium secundum ASD communicates with the true left atrium or very rarely to the accessory chamber. One is the core triatum dexter. In this case, the membrane is present in the right atrium. As during early cardiogenesis, the right horn of the sinus venosus is guarded by two valves. The smaller left valve becomes incorporated into left septum secundum, and the larger right valve initially divides the right atrium into two chambers. That again later on regresses between 9th to the 15th week of the gestation. But in core triatriatum dexter, there is persistent embryonic right valve in the sinus venosus that become a septating membrane later on. So in this case, the vena cava and coronary sinus are on one side of the membrane, and right atrial appendages and tricuspid orifice are on the other side. This is membrane is present on the right atrium. The physiological consequences of the core triatriatum are analogous to other forms of the obstruction, congenital obstruction to the LA, but their unique features are Here, the pressure is elevated in the accessory chamber, that is proximal to the obstruction, and is normal in true left atrium, that is distal chamber. So accordingly, the stenotic orifice remains open throughout the cardiac cycle. So blood flow across the obstructing partition is continuous throughout the cardiac cycle. So how the patient will present, the age of presentation and the symptoms will depend upon the severity of the obstruction. In case of mild to moderate obstruction, patient child may be asymptomatic, or symptoms will appear in adolescence or adulthood. But in case of severe obstruction, the neonate or young child will present with dyspnea, tachypnea, paroxysmal cough, irritability, poor feeding, failure to thrive, or hemoptysis. Maybe the symptoms may be delayed till adolescence or childhood until acute pulmonary edema develops. Occasionally, sudden deterioration may follow the good health in the adulthood due to acute pulmonary edema, and massive recurrent hemoptysis can be the precipitating cause of the death. In contrast to the congenital mitral stenosis, whereas the hemoptysis is very rare or absent. Physical appearance is normal except the failure to thrive in chronically ill infants or young children. Here the atrial fibrillation is uncommon, and JVP will reflect the sign of pulmonary hypertension, and there will be increased A wave, and with the evidence of tricuspid regurgitation or right ventricular failure, we will get the large D wave. And you'll get the signs of, on examination, you'll get signs of pulmonary hypertension, the palpable P2 component of second heart wall and palpable right ventricle and heave. Auscultation S1 is not increased because the diastolic pressure is not exerted against the belly of the anterior mitral effect here also, as in case of congenital mitral stenosis. So its systolic exertion is not brisk. We'll get the loud P2 because of the pulmonary hypertension. Opening snap will be absent here also. And we can get murmur that can be systolic, diastolic, or continuous, or maybe there is no murmur at all. As the undulating membrane moves towards the mitral wall during diastole and reflecting the diastolic gradient, and it moves away from the mitral wall during systole, reflecting the reversal of gradient as the LV contracts, and it exerts pressure on the membrane through the closed mitral wall. And a continuous murmur that reflect the continuous flow across the departing diaphragm, and is the result of systolic murmur that continues into diastole and is reinforced as LV pressure falls below the pressure of the true LV. We can get murmur of the TR due to pulmonary hypertension, and as the enlarged RV occupies the apex, the TR murmur is heard at the apex, and that can be mistaken for the MR. We'll get the Gram-Still murmur due to the pulmonary hypertension.
So suppose there is a case of you're auscultating a case, and the question is it congenital mitral stenosis or is it chordritum? Rheumatic we have already discussed versus this. Is it congenital mitral stenosis or is it chordritum? What features on examination ECG is going to tell you that this is chordritum, this can be chordritum, or this can be congenital mitral stenosis? What are those features? In your clinical presentation, on your examination, what are the features which will point towards a chordritum? What are the features which will tell you a congenital mitral stenosis? Well, they are soft features. Most of the findings will overlap. Similar findings would be there. Pulmonary artery hypertension is always a feature in both these criteria, no? Because they are present right from birth.
Yes,
but
sir.
what features will tell you कि ये congenital mitral हो सकता है या हो सकता है? Can you differentiate?
Sir, congenital mitral stenosis में apart from that mid diastolic murmur we can appreciate. लेकिन that is soft one. So
Congenital mitral first heart sound इसमें भी loud नहीं होगा.
yes sir, सब match कर रहा है sir.
तो भी
P2
नहीं होगा.
loud, no opening snap,
Continuous
no.
murmur.
What about the murmur? Is there anything in the murmur which will help you to diagnose congenital mitral stenosis versus this?
Murmur, only murmur is the criteria, sir. But in that case, we'll get diastolic murmur, mid diastolic murmur, and here in cord item, sir, the murmur may vary them, or we cannot get any murmur, sir. How will we?
This continuous murmur will be there.
In case you are finding any continuous murmur in
That's
a
going to
setting of severe pulmonary artery hypertension, but there is a possibility that you are dealing with a cord triatum, because here the flow is both in systole and diastole. Proximal pressures are always high. Any patient which is presenting with acute failure, acute pulmonary edema, sudden deterioration as presented, generally in the chronic, there you find an X-ray which is very, very bad, but the features of pulmonary edema, the X-ray particularly bad, but the patient will not be asymptomatic. But if the patient is very symptomatic and you are discussing asymptomatic suddenly,
yes,
then there is a more possibility of a cord triatum. Why? Because cord triatum, the mean pressure is elevated right from the beginning. In congenital mitral stenosis, it is predominantly the atrial kick which is helping to push the flow forward. Na? Here there is no kick which is helping it. It is continuous pressures which is being taken by the lungs which are there. So there is compensatory power is almost gone. There is no intermittent opening which happens. So and anything which can offset this leads to sudden deterioration in cord triatum. So their presentation can be generally acute, and secondly the presence of continuous murmur. Rest everything will be common.
yes, sir. Common.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
I guess a TR murmur also makes you differentiate.
TR can be both present.
Both
TR murmur is
it's a part of a pH only now.
It just points to pH. It can be present in congenital also. It can be cord triatum. So that actually does not help.
ECG findings भी same ही है sir दोनों भी.
ECG findings वही right heart के, पर इसमें is there anything
LA
different?
enlargement. LA enlargement.
हमने खुद ही तो लिखा हुआ है broad notched left atrial P wave due to
Notched
prolonged
P wave.
conduction in proximal accessory chamber.
We can get
This is very specific for a proximal chamber with a restricted interatrial communication. अगर वो होगा तो proximal chamber is enlarged so much that ECG wise it is going to give the same appearance of a left atrial involvement ECG में, which is never seen in congenital mitral stenosis. मतलब never तो कुछ नहीं होता है, is very rarely seen in congenital mitral stenosis. You understand? No, ये अगर cord triatum के variants please read from Mawson and Adams, because उसमें there is the classification which is given here is congenital. I mean जो आपको अभी बताया hourglass, tubular, diaphragmatic, पता होना चाहिए, but these are not the hemodynamically they are not important. Important is जो उसमें दिया है, ये proximal ASD है, distal ASD है, classify जो उसके according किया हुआ है. So the relevance is, if the proximal chamber is restrictive, the opening is restrictive, it can lead to features of left atrial enlargement, which are not a common feature in congenital mitral stenosis.
Okay, sir.
X-ray में क्या है?
Sir, X-ray में signs of pulmonary venous congestion will be there, and we'll get the enlarged PT or right atrial enlargement and RV. There will be no feature of the LA enlargement will not be there in the PA view, but in case of lateral view we can get the proximal part, enlarged proximal LA. That's the only features. it's written radiological appearance of LA is of special interest because the size of the true distal LA chamber is normal. The combination of pulmonary venous congestion without LA enlargement is important radiological feature. Right enlargement of proximal accessory compartment should not be mistaken for enlargement of LA proper because LA appendage reside in the distal low pressure compartment. It is not seen in the X-ray.
So very important is whenever X-ray you are looking and you want to differentiate with whether congenital mitral stenosis or rheumatic or this,
Yes,
here the appendage will never get involved. Appendage is a part of X-ray. There is this aortopulmonary window. I'm not talking of AP window shunt lesion wala. X-ray में if you classify the left side, there is a aortopulmonary window. Aorta और pulmonary artery के बीच में जो space होती है, that is called aortopulmonary window. That window is never enlarged in case of LA enlargement में left atrium भी enlarge होता है, left atrium enlarge होता है तो वो area full हो जाता है. पर इसमें जो जहाँ एरो पॉइंट कर रहे हो ना उसके ठीक इस नीचे वाला नीचे इज अपेंडेज. दिस एरिया इज द रीजन ऑफ अपेंडेज. इसके ऊपर इज द एरिया ऑफ यहाँ पे LA enlargement होती है. You can get some LA enlargement which is there, which is actually not LA, वो proximal chamber है जो बड़ा हो जाता है. लेकिन अपेंडेज एरिया में इस पर्टिकुलर एरिया में there will never be fullness. या हमेशा देखा इसमें भी बेसा है, इसमें भी एरो लेके जाओ जहाँ PT लिखा है उसके नीचे एक गोला LA बड़ा हुआ है, देखो बहुत अच्छा एक्सरे, उसके नीचे एक बे बनता है फिर नीचे जाता है. इफ यू सी लेफ्ट एट्रियल एनलार्जमेंट उसमें अपेंडेज इन्वॉल्वमेंट होती है तो ये एरिया भी हमेशा फुल होता है जो बे बना हुआ है. Appendage enlargement is a feature of left atrial enlargements which will not be seen in case of quadratum because quadratum में LA जैसा enlargement हो जाएगा proximal chamber का, लेकिन appendage कभी enlarge नहीं होगा क्योंकि वो हमेशा distal होता है.
Okay, sir. बाकी सब सेम फीचर्स आएंगे अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस.
बाकी congenital वाले फीचर्स आएंगे तभी तो और the features will overlap with congenital. Same presentation ही तो है except for presence of continuous murmur because systole diastole में दोनों में obstruction हो रहा है. diastole में move नहीं कर रहा है, systole diastole में दोनों में obstruction है. और appendage खैर दोनों में इन्वॉल्व नहीं होता है बट इसमें कई बार LA enlargement के फीचर्स मिल जाते हैं because proximal chamber काफी बड़ा हो जाता है ना obstruction से, उसमें कभी बड़ा नहीं होता.
इको वाला फिर हमारा हो ही गया. Anatomic features will identify on the echo. The thin indulating membrane, interarterial membrane which is characterized by diastolic movement towards the mitral funnel and systolic movements towards away from this. LA appendage lie within the distal compartment and thus distinguishing the scot atrium from the supramolar mitral ring. Position of the LA is best determined during the ventricle systole when the membrane moves away from the mitral rings. And mitral wall itself is normal except the high frequency diastolic oscillation in contrast to supravalvular stenosing ring, which is accompanied by the deformed mitral wall. Color flow imaging and continuous wave Doppler scan interrogation disclose the continuous flow across the membrane with peak flow during diastole. And true distal left atrium is normal, but the proximal accessory chamber may be slightly dilated. Echo is used to diagnose the CTD together with location, size, and attachment site of the anomalous remnant of the wall to the right venous sinus venosus. These are the echo finding. This is the echo parasternal view of a 21-year-old woman with the. This is the membrane. This is mitral wall, distal chamber, proximal chamber. Here it is the accessory chamber in the 1-year-old boy. Accessory chamber is seen between the pulmonary vein and this is the accessory chamber. I move, sir.
Next.
Management is for asymptomatic non-obstructive features. or if there is no pathological change in cardiac chamber on echo, will manage conservatively in the line of CHF and increase pulmonary venous congestion. And surgical resection should be considered in when there is development of symptoms or cardiac changes like elevation of the inflow gradients or elevation of the PA pressures, LA dilations, or thrombus is there. Or if there is need of the additional surgery for other cardiac anomalies, so in that case we can do the resection of the membranes. Auto management
Surgical if there is causing obstruction. Next.
सर इतना ही
Atrial pulmonary stenosis.
हाँ pulmonary stenosis is in brief परलोक में ज़्यादा नहीं दिया सर. It is characterized by hyperplasia of one or more pulmonary veins or by focal narrowing at or near their left atrial junction. This hyperplasia varies from slight narrowing to the atresia of individual pulmonary veins or a common pulmonary vein. Focal narrowing is caused by circumferential collar of fibrous intimal thickening or by a membranous diaphragm. Embryologically, it is believed that there is developmental fault of the common pulmonary vein, a structure that is normally incorporated into left atrium as 4 separate venous channels. And this focal stenosis or hyperplasia or atresia may coexist with involvement of most or all the pulmonary veins. Therefore, high pulmonary venous pressure is not distributed uniformly within the lungs because of the variation of the location and severity of individual sites of the stenosis. And here the physiology is same as of the congenital mitral stenosis or called triatriatum, but the LA pressure will be normal. Presentation, patient will present with dyspnea, orthopnea, cough, hemoptysis, lower respiratory tract infection, and lifespan occasionally extend into the middle or late teens, but only a minority of the patients survive the childhood. And on examination, we will get RV and pulmonary trunk impulse on the precordial palpation. And on auscultation, S1 will be normal, P2 component of the S2 will be loud, and we'll get gram still murmur or TR murmur on auscultation. ECG showing right atrial P wave abnormalities or right axis deviation or right ventricle hypertrophy, indicating the pulmonary hypertension. Chest X-ray characterized by the symmetry between the right and left lungs, asymmetry between right and left lungs, and by non-uniform distribution within each lung. Left atrial size remains normal because pulmonary vein stenosis is proximal to it, and heart tends to shift towards the side of the major development, major involvement, which is usually left hemithorax. एक्सरे वगैरह परलोक में थे नहीं, मैंने कुछ एक्सरे इको एक्सक्लूड्स द congenital, बस ये लास्ट है.
Okay. Whenever you are dealing with congenital vein stenosis, na, congenital vein stenosis में is always a differential diagnosis of any case you are presenting down the list. जब भी congenital vein stenosis word use करोगे, suddenly examiner का वो दिमाग खड़ा हो जाएगा. Congenital vein stenosis, डॉक्टर साहब इतनी एज में, but remember, partial congenital vein stenosis will be one of the differential diagnoses whenever you are presenting a case of pulmonary venous obstruction. क्योंकि सारी features almost same होंगे. What is very characteristic in pulmonary vein stenosis, और ये differential diagnosis down the list में आएगा. Yes, if it is atresia or diffuse pulmonary vein stenosis, then obviously it is not competent with life. They are not going to survive in utero or not even survive immediately after birth. They are going to expire. But if it's a partial pulmonary vein stenosis, congenital pulmonary vein stenosis, which is generally commonly seen on the left side, left lung would be smallish. So the heart tends to shift towards the left lung. That will be one of the most important feature. Always एक बहुत important अच्छा clue है इसमें, जिस तरफ का arch होता है उसके opposite तरफ का agenesis होता है हमेशा. अगर right aortic arch है तो left agenesis होता है, अगर left arch होता है तो right agenesis होता है. ठीक है, जनरली क्या ऑलमोस्ट 99% दिस इज अ रूल. अगर लेफ्ट एचएनएसएस है तो राइट एओर्टिक आर्च मिलेगा मोस्ट केसेस. हमेशा अगर लेफ्ट आर्च है और लेफ्ट एजेनेसिस ही मिल रहा है, यानी लेफ्ट जेनेसिस जैसी पिक्चर मिल रही है, तो हमेशा थिंक ऑफ पल्मोनरी वेन स्टेनोसिस. दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट डिक्टम, स्पेशली रोमेला. रिमेंबर, अगर लेफ्ट आर्च मिल रहा है और लेफ्ट तरफ को एक्सरे में हार्ट शिफ्ट दिख रहा है, सो देयर आर ओनली few possibilities. या तो लेफ्ट लंग एजेनेसिस है यानी पल्मोनरी वेन एजेनेसिस है, यानी लेफ्ट तरफ का लंग्स छोटा है, या देयर इज एब्सेंट पेरिकार्डियम ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड. These are the causes of whenever you see the heart shifted towards the left on X-ray. And case presentation में जब case present कर रहे हो तो congenital mitral stenosis most likely rheumatic, but considering this could consider pathology which is congenital also. Favor in this is the presence of, हमने भी discuss किया, ये quadratum would be one of the differential, and congenital pulmonary vein stenosis would be one of the differential. X-ray would help to differentiate pulmonary vein stenosis from rest of the findings.
सर ब्राउनवर्ल्ड में ऐसे लिख रहा है यूजुअली जो ये पल्मोनरी वेन स्टेनोसिस या पीवीओडी होता है, इट प्रेजेंट्स एज PAH, एंड व्हेन यू स्टार्ट द थेरेपी ऑफ PAH usually these patients worsen, and that is how you tend to clinically suspect more of a pulmonary
all
vein
this
obstruction.
subgroup of patients which we have discussed, congenital mitral stenosis, ये जो पूरा एक साथ ग्रुप में लिया है, पर्लॉफ में शायद एक ही चैप्टर में है ना, एक साथ
LA
हाँ,
outflow.
so all these subgroup of patients have a common presentation. They will always present with PH. और इस subgroup of patients में जब भी आप sildenafil शुरू करोगे, they will get worsened because, और सबसे ज्यादा worsening होगी pulmonary vein stenosis में. You are causing vasodilatation, आगे obstruction है, flow तो जा नहीं पाएगा, pulmonary edema worsen हो जाएगा. सबसे ज्यादा obstruction होगी जितना ज्यादा obstructive है, यानी सबसे ज्यादा obstruction होता है left sided pulmonary venous में, next quadratum में there is a fixed obstruction, no. बाकी जगह तो valve open हो रहा है, so it's supravalvular में भी some opening is there, congenital mitral stenosis में तो definitely valve opening is there, so it will definitely get worsened, but the most worsening will be seen in congenital pulmonary vein stenosis followed by quadratum whenever you start vasodilators. All of them are going to present with PH. PH सबसे characteristic feature होगा. How to differentiate? Second heart sound सब में loud नहीं होगा, soft होगा. Congenital mitral stenosis में
S1 sir.
S1 would not be loud in congenital mitral stenosis में क्या मिलेगा? We have just discussed. RV के फीचर मिलेंगे, बट LA enlargement नहीं मिलता है. एक्सरे में LA enlargement जैसी पिक्चर quadratum में मिलती है, कुछ नहीं मिलता है, और हार्ट लेफ्ट को शिफ्ट मिलता है. तो congenital pulmonary vein stenosis सोचो, अगर यंग एडोलेसेंट आ रहा है जिसमें आप रूमेटिक सोच रहे हो, वेनस ये सोच रहे हो, उसमें पल्मोनरी वेनस ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन भी सोचो. जनरली ये पेशेंट होते कैसे हैं, सडनली आते हैं, यंग था वो कोलैप्स कर गया, क्रैश कर गया, सांस तेज फूलता हुआ आया, वो इसी तरह से आते हैं, किसी ना किसी से ऑफसेट हो गया, पल्मोनरी वेन स्टेनोसिस वाला, ये लेफ्ट साइड के आइसोलेटेड होते हैं. एंड सेकेंडली व्हाट वी डिस्कस इज प्रेजेंस ऑफ कंटिन्यूअस मर्मर. पर रिमेंबर कॉर्ड में भी कंटिन्यूअस मर्मर इज नॉट वेरी कॉमन, it is very rare, but if you find a continuous murmur, then continuous murmur is always a feature of either quadratum or second differential diagnosis, ASD with restrictive mitral stenosis with restrictive ASD, Lutembecker, है ना, अगर ASD भी associated होता है ना. So these are the two differential diagnoses in this setting, but this is such a soft continuous murmur दोनों में, क्योंकि डायस्टली में है ना, आई मीन वेरी लो प्रेशर्स में है ना, सॉरी डायस्टली में नहीं है, रॉन्ग वर्ड, आई मीन टू से इट इज एट वेरी लो प्रेशर्स, इट इज बिटवीन द एट्रियास, so it is at a very very low pressure, so these continuous murmur is not generally as loud as you find in PDA or RSOPs, it is generally a softer continuous murmur. Anything else?
सर मेरा एक डाउट है सर आपने बोला था कि पल्मोनरी वेन स्टेनोसिस में अगर आप सिंगल नाक यूज करेंगे तो इट कॉजेस वैसोडाइलेशन. अगर वैसोडाइलेशन होगा तो फॉरवर्ड फ्लो मतलब आरवी आरएम में जो ब्लड आ रहा है वो कम होगा, तो पल्मोनरी एडिमा क्यों बढ़ेगा सर? उसमें आउटपुट कम होगा, कार्डियक आउटपुट कम होगा, बट पल्मोनरी एडिमा नहीं बढ़ेगा ना सर?
What is happening is whenever using pulmonary vasodilators, it is relaxing the pulmonary capillary bed को relax कर रहा है, यानी pulmonary artery के flow को it is indirectly increasing the pulmonary artery flow from pulmonary artery to pulmonary capillary bed to pulmonary veins. This is what the flow is. पर pulmonary veins आगे obstructed है, so flow is going to increase from the pulmonary artery bed, but because there is a distal obstruction, the blood is not able to go. Where it will go into the interstitium and worsen the edema. So whenever in obstructive lesions,
Pulmonary flow will be increased.
in flow obstructive lesions, sildenafil is counterproductive. वो कहते हैं ना mitral stenosis है, severe PH है, चलो sildenafil दे दो. Actually it can be very very dangerous also, no? Because obstructive है. और cort ritum में और pulmonary vein obstruction में तो it is very dangerous, because अगर आपने दे दिया और वो तो pulmonary edema और भी worsen हो जाएगा. Nitric oxide, sildenafil, all these measures are not relaxing pulmonary veins. They are relaxing proximally in the capillary level. So flow is going to increase. Gradients are going to increase. It's a fixed obstruction.
बट सर एक्चुअली डायलेटेशन कैपिलरी डायलेटेशन होगा एक्चुअली, तो उसमें फ्लो तो बढ़ेगा सर, बट ग्रेडियंट तो कम होगा ना सर, क्योंकि डायलेटेशन
नॉर्मली हमने एक होस पाइप को उससे कनेक्ट कर दिया टैप से, है ना, और आगे ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन है फिक्स्ड. इफ आई इंक्रीज द टैप वाटर, my gradient and my flow is going to increase, my gradient is also going to increase, मेरा प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है.
इसमें एक्चुअली होस पाइप में हम और जो पाइप है वो डायरेक्ट नहीं होगा, बट इसमें जो हम कर रहे हैं तो कैपिलरी से उसको डायरेक्ट कर रहे हैं ना सर.
और कैपिलरी से ब्लड कहाँ आ रहा है? पल्मोनरी वेन से.
जैसे होस पाइप
पल्मोनरी वेन से ब्लड आ रहा है ना,
फ्लो तो बढ़ेगा, बट उसमें फ्लो बढ़ रहा है, बट उसमें कैपिलरी डायलेट नहीं, उसमें पाइप डायलेट नहीं हो रहा है. इसमें हम
पल्मोनरी वेन्स आर नॉट डायलेटिंग, नो. तो फ्लो
कैपिलरी डायलेट कर रहे हैं.
ये एब्सोल्युटली पीछे से फ्लो बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन पल्मोनरी वेन्स आर फिक्स्ड ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन, तो वहां से जा नहीं पा रहा, तो अल्टीमेटली इट इज गोइंग टू गो इनटू द इंटरस्टिशियम.
ग्रेडियंट तो बढ़ेगा,
ग्रेडियंट बढ़ जाएगा, ग्रेडियंट बढ़ जाएगा, फ्लो बढ़ जाएगा, पल्मोनरी एडिमा बढ़ जाएगा. You got this point or no? Chill करो, chill. Vamsi, are you satisfied or you are not satisfied?
सर एक्चुअली मेरा डाउट ये है सर, एक्चुअली हम जब उन्होंने डायलेटर्स दे रहे हैं, सो बिकॉज ऑफ गिविंग डायलेटेशन ऑफ द कैपिलरीज, बिकॉज ऑफ द आर्टेरियल डायलेटेशन, द फ्लो इज इंक्रीजिंग. इट्स नॉट टू इंक्रीज इन वेनस रिटर्न. मतलब हम जिसके हम डायलेट कर रहे हैं उसकी वजह से फ्लो इंक्रीज हो रही है, एंड कैपिलरीज आर अकोमोडेटिंग मोर. एक्चुअली जब एरिया ज्यादा होगा तो ग्रेडियंट यूजुअली कम होगा ना सर, मतलब ऑलमोस्ट सेम ही होगा या ज्यादा ग्रेडियंट इंक्रीज नहीं होगा, क्योंकि प्रेशर जब डायलेट होगा तो एरिया बढ़ेगा. तो
पल्मोनरी आर्टरी से कैपिलरीज में ब्लड आ रहा है,
सर
कैपिलरीज से अल्टीमेटली ब्लड पल्मोनरी वेन्स में जा रहा है, और पल्मोनरी वेन से लेफ्ट एट्रियम.
वो तो जा नहीं पा रहे, वो समझ गया था मैंने.
Whenever you relaxing flow is, जब भी आप sildenafil देते हो, what is the commonest side effect of sildenafil or vasodilator? It is pulmonary hemorrhage, pulmonary edema. Why it happens? Because it dilates the pulmonary bed and more flow goes to the area. If this capillary bed is weak, like जहाँ VQ mismatch है, जहाँ alveoli support नहीं कर रहे, वो उस area में bleeding हो जाती है. That causes pulmonary edema. So commonest side effect of, मतलब why सबको क्यों नहीं देते सिर्फ vasodilators? Vasodilator तो है, ultimately तो हमारे heart को support ही करेंगे. No. If there is an obstructive component and if you give vasodilators, ultimately it is going to increase the flow and cause VQ mismatch and increase to flow area. मतलब ultimately flow बढ़ रहा है ना, अगर flow बढ़ेगा और आगे fixed obstruction है, वहां से जा नहीं पाएगा and back pressure changes आ जाएंगे. So maybe you can read about this and then come back. And then come back. And you read about this and still if the doubt persists, then we'll definitely discuss it tomorrow again. Anything else?
Okay sir.
कल कौन कर रहा है, क्या है?
परसों से
कल कुछ नहीं है. अच्छा परसों क्या है?
PR and PS.
Okay. तो कल क्यों नहीं कर रहे? संडे है, सो व्हाट? हमारा थोड़ी ना संडे, रोज ही संडे. Why waste a day, no?
रोस्टर बनाया हुआ था मोहित सर ने संडे ऑफ का.
तो कल कर लेंगे सर. I will do a small lecture. I have actually एक दो PPT I will present them. One is approach to a cyanotic congenital heart disease. या फिर approach to top physiology या approach to acyanotic.
Talk about
I can
BMV. BMV is a very
Sir,
common question which is asked.
BMV, I think I will do it in the next leg when we'll be doing rheumatic. अभी तो
आज
congenital
MS
कर रहे हैं
discuss
ना
किया है ना, कल BMV कर दो. Let's see whatever
Sir.
you can present with BMV.
ना sir, I cannot make ना, I don't have laptop. मैं बना बनाया मेरे पास I can present. I will see if I have. If I get
Somebody else
anyone
can
anything, I will
एक
present if
procedure
I
को,
get anything.
क्योंकि procedures भी तो करने हैं ना, एक जो procedures commonly पूछते हैं वो BMV है. For adult वो BMV is the commonest procedure which is asked, no? क्योंकि तो आज BMV खत्म करके one of you can present, Shashank can present BMV.
सर परसों मेरा ही है.
अच्छा, तो और कौन बच गया? सुमन
तो
can
बीएमवी
present
के लिए
BMV.
थोड़ा टाइम चाहिए होगा सर बनाने के लिए. काफी है सर बीएमवी.
कल का टाइम, कल 6 बजे है ना? What time है? Whatever you can present, Suman will make the indications and Vamsi can make the procedure steps. I will modify.
सर कल मेरा ड्यूटी है सर 24 आवर्स ड्यूटी है.
कोई बात नहीं, I will just check if I get a PPT बना बनाया, I will present, not an issue. ठीक है?
ठीक है, तो tomorrow we are doing BMV at 6 o'clock. Whatever you can,
Oh.
you can divide
Okay, sir.
among yourself the indication, hardware and steps.
ठीक है सर, ठीक.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Neeraj sir.
Thank you.
Stop कर दे.